Hi, this is Mr. Miller, and I just wanted to give you a quick rundown of how to write a 3-paragraph opinion essay. We've been working on it in class, and in case you wanted to practice at home or review before we do our district writing assessment, here you go. So we're going to start with a prompt we've already done, and I'm going to refer to a note sheet that I passed out to all the students. So if you have yours at home, great. If not, I'm going to be showing it to you so you can refer back to the one that you received in class later on. So let's start with this prompt. Should recess be longer? And I'm going to pull out my note sheet and start there. Okay, step 1 of paragraph 1. So I'm going to start at the top, paragraph 1. And I'll start with the attention getter because that's first. The attention getter is an interesting fact about the topic that draws the reader in. So first I need to know what the topic is, and I have to get that from the prompt. So I'm going to go back to the prompt, and I'm going to read the prompt. Should recess be longer? And choose the one most important word in there, which is recess. And that's the topic, just recess. Not should recess be longer, but just recess. So I'm going to use that to write a fact about recess. And I've written this fact. Recess is a short time when kids play outside at school. That's my attention getter. Back to our note sheet. Step 2. We need to write a topic sentence. And to do that, we're going to use keywords from the prompt. Then we're going to put the keywords in order. They don't have to be in the exact order we found them, but we're going to add a statement to them. We're going to say something about them to get the reader closer to the topic, to warm them up to what we're going to be saying. So I go back to my prompt. Should recess be longer? And fortunately, the topic is one of those keywords. I only need to find if there are any other important words. There's one other one, longer. So recess and longer are 2 words that I'm going to use. Should and be, we can find them in other random sentences, so they are not important keywords. Let's use recess and longer and warm the reader up to the topic we're going to be writing about. I've written this sentence. A longer recess would make a lot of kids very happy. Just something simple. And you'll notice that I've used the words longer and recess. And I even flipped the order around. It really doesn't matter what order you use them. Back to our note sheet. We're almost done with the first paragraph. The third and final step is probably the easiest if you've done a foursquare. And that's just the main idea plus the word because plus the 3 details you came up to support your main idea. So I'm going to go back to my foursquare. My main idea is that recess should be longer. So I'll say that, then I'll say the word because, and then I'm going to list my 3 reasons. So recess should be longer because kids need more time to get their energy out so they can focus. More recess gives kids a chance to practice social skills, and more recess lets kids get more exercise. That's all one sentence, and here's what it looks like. Recess should be longer because kids need to get their energy out. Recess gives kids a chance to practice social skills, and more recess lets kids get more exercise. That's it. That's our first paragraph. Very simple, but it starts broad and it narrows down into our opinion about the prompt. Back to our note sheet. Finished paragraph 1. Now we're on to paragraph 2. We very simply are going to start with the main idea. Even though we just said it in the thesis, we want to start each paragraph focused on what we're talking about. So we're just going to state the main idea again. Recess should last longer. And again, you can get that right from the middle of the prompt. Step 2 is to list our first detail, why we think recess should be longer. That supports the main idea. So that's the first square in the fourth square, and I've said kids need more time to get their energy out so they can focus. So I'm going to say that, but I'm going to use transition words. One reason recess should be longer, I want to come back to that thought, or last longer, is that kids need more time to get their energy out. And that's it. Right from the fourth square, just with some transition words and the focus. Up next on the note sheet is an explanation of that first detail. A lot of people miss this, so don't forget this. I'm going to explain it a little bit more so my reader can understand. Well, what do I mean by that? Well, for example, when kids get to run around, sitting still and paying attention in class is easier. So I just added that to give a little more information about that first detail. Back to our note sheet. What comes next? Detail 2. It's right from our foursquare. We're going to pull that over, and we're going to add it to our writing. And our second detail on the Foursquare is more recess gives kids a chance to practice social skills. Again, I use transition words. A second reason kids need more recess, and I've mentioned that topic again, kids need more recess, or not the topic, my opinion, kids need more recess, is recess gives them a chance to practice social skills. I bet you can guess what's coming next. Now we're going to explain it. So I'll go back and I've added an explanation. Kids spend so much time on technology that they talk to their peers less than kids did in the past. Recess is a chance for them to practice talking with friends. So that's my explanation, just to help the reader understand it better. Back to our note sheet. We're almost there for the end of paragraph 2. Detail 3. I'm going to go to my Foursquare. As our note sheet said, I'm looking right in the third square of the Foursquare. Here's my last point. More recess lets kids get more exercise. So I'm going to say that with transition words. Finally, there's my transition word. Kids should have more recess, that's my opinion, because it gives them a chance to exercise. Simple as that. Then I go back to my note sheet. Oh, I've got to explain that too. So I'm going to add an explanation of it. Why is that important? Well, children aren't spending as much time outside as they used to. Recess gets kids moving outdoors. We're almost done. Don't forget to add a wrap-up, which is just your main idea again. It's kind of like a sandwich. You want to put a bun on the top and on the bottom to wrap it up. So I'm going to do that now, and I'm just going to say the main idea in a clever way. Or you could just say it like you did before. Recess should last longer, wouldn't be the end of the world. But I'm going to say those were just a few reasons why kids should have a longer recess. And that's it. That's the end of my second paragraph. Now don't quit there, because we need to conclude it. We need to wrap up the whole thing. So I'm going back to my note sheet, and look, here's my third paragraph. And it's going to be really easy because I already did my first paragraph. But you should notice, as we talked about, that it's in backwards order. Instead of going attention getter, topic, sentence, thesis, this time I'm going to go from the thesis to the topic, sentence to the attention getter. So I'm going to start with the thesis, which I can use pretty much the exact same thing. If you want to get a little bit more interesting, you can state it backwards. So I said it this way. The chance to get more energy out, practice social skills, and exercise are 3 reasons why kids should have more recess. That was my thesis. What's next? Topic, sentence. So I pretty much am using my exact topic, sentence. I just said a longer recess would make a lot of kids very happy. And then I switched up the attention getter. You don't have to do this, but I wanted to make it interesting. So when I did the attention getter, I said something new to leave the reader with a final thought. Recess is a time that every kid looks forward to and needs. I wanted to make that point really stick out. So according to our note sheet, we have finished. I know because I have 3 paragraphs, 1, 2, 3, and please note that I can tell they're different paragraphs not because I've numbered them, but because each has an indented beginning, and I've separated them with a space. That's our 3-paragraph opinion writing.